Hey guys, what's up? In today's video, we're gonna teach you how to deal with war bearings inside M differential on the F series chassis, so M2, M3, M4, M5 and M6. We have here one differential with bad bearings, how to change those bearings and refresh your differential to work like new. To keep this video as short as possible, we're gonna skip the performance upgrade of the carrier unit itself. We already have that video, so you can check it here on the link. And we're gonna focus strictly on changing bearings in this video. So, what do you need for this job to complete it successfully? You need the bearing and oil seal set. You can get it from us. You need one special tool and another special tool. You need one socket 13 and you need one socket E8 to open this differential. So I'm gonna unbox this and show you all parts that you get from us. First, to start with bearings, one shim, oil seals, pinion bearings and side bearings. Later on in this video, we'll show you detailed look on these parts and how to install them properly, but for now this is it. One special tool for pressing in bearings, because the shape of the housing is a little bit problematic to do on everything on a hydro press. So we have to avoid doing this on the hydro press because we are unable to position the differential housing properly on the press. So that is why we built this simple but effective tool for pressing out bearing cones. And another special and interesting tool is to tighten the pinion nut. Pinion nut is a little bit specific on this generation of differentials. You have to use something like a key with weird shape, but it fits right here. And its purpose is to lock this in a vise. So you can use another part of the tool to put it here. So you're able to tighten this pinion properly in this generation of the differential. This tool can be used for non-M differentials in the F chassis and the G chassis. So when you touch the bearings on the F chassis and forward, you're gonna need this tool. Everything that I show you right here is in the link in the description of this video, so you can feel free to check it. We're gonna move on now to the workbench to disassemble this differential and show you step by step how to change bad bearings. Remove the actuator motor to avoid breaking of these fins. Before you guys take out the carrier unit outside from the housing, be sure that you remember what was the right side cap, what was the left side cap. This is the carrier unit and this is the housing. Since the construction of the center LSD unit is like this, there is no tool that can grab the bearing and pull it out. So you have to use the hand grinder to cut the bearing and remove it. First you cut gauge, so you can open up the bearing to get to the inner cone. And now we proceed to cut the inner cone. Be gentle with that, watch carefully not to cut the inside which belongs to the carrier unit itself. So just cut the cone and use a hammer to take out the bearing. One removed. Other one removed. At this point, since we grinded off the bearings, as you saw, there are some metal shavings around here. At this point, it will be mostly handy if you decide to upgrade LSD carrier unit with our Evo-Hybrid Performance Upgrade Pack, because when you remove the bearing, you're ready to dismount and take out the internals from the diff and install our upgrade pack. But if you don't want to do that, if you want to change the bearings only, make sure you clean this bearing carefully from the metal shavings from the removing the bearings from here. Dry it with air and continue with the procedure of installing new bearings. But since you remove them, you see this C-clip right here. This C-clip is crucial for taking apart this LSD unit. Since you remove the bearing, it will be handy if you do the upgrade at this point. But still, if you don't want to do that, just clean everything, get it ready for the new bearings. Left one and the right one are completely the same, so you don't need to pay attention on that. One small trick. If you already did one side, don't push this one against this one because it will destroy the race. So put this below the diff and then diff here. When you start pressing, your lower bearing should be completely free. Take the carrier unit somewhere else to continue working because it's now ready to be installed again. Now it's time to deal with the caps. Side caps, again, don't mix left and right. Take out the oil seal first and then you can press out the bearing. Now it's time to clean the cap with some brake cleaner. Clean the surface for the new oil seal. We do that with the help of Scotch-Brite. Get everything nice and smooth for the installation of new parts. You can use old bearing cone to press new inside. In our pack you get 3 oil seals. 2 are for the side and 1 is for the front. We prefer using some sealing compound on the oil seals. Provided us with a better sealing capabilities and results, but you don't need to. Anyway, we do it. How deep you should go? This is an interesting question. You see this oiling hole for the bearing. Make sure to get to the edge of the oiling hole, but you shouldn't cover it with the oil seal because you will mess up the oiling level of the bearing, leading to premature wear, just like this. So this cap is ready to be used again. Do this procedure for another cap to keep this video as short as possible. We won't film it, of course, for another one because the procedure is the same. And now we are moving on to the housing and the front bearings on the pinion. First, we need to loosen up this nut to get the pin out and then remove the bearings. Socket 36 and the strong lever. This one was already loosened. Maybe someone tried to do this job but didn't succeed. Anyways, direction of rotation is clockwise to loosen it and counterclockwise to tighten it. So when you're losing it, you go clockwise direction. Then remove this oil seal. To remove this oil seal, you need to press out this pinion inside to get to this. At this point, it will be lovely if you have any helper to hold this housing while you hammer out the pinion. Use something wooden or plastic to avoid damaging the pinion. And here's the pinion. Crush sleeve, pinion bearing, and now it's time to remove bearing cones from the housing. Taking out oil seal, another bearing. If you don't have anyone who can help you holding the bearing on the bench, as I don't have right now, I have the holding tool that can be also purchased from racingdivs.com. large bearing cone, and you will notice adjustment shim. For the pinion depth, again, when you're just changing the bearings, you don't need to change this one. Just remember to put it back behind the new bearing cone. Don't forget that one. And now is the time to press in new bearing cones. To do that more easily, take the bearing cone to the freeze, and you need to heat up the housing to get it done more easily. This procedure can also be done without heating and freezing the bearing cone, but it's a lot easier because sometimes if you skip this step, bearing cone can be pushed a little bit sideways and get stuck. To avoid this situation, we recommend heating and freezing those two parts. How do you know where it's enough? When it's enough? You need to have around 150 Celsius here on the housing. Cone from the freezer. Wait a couple of minutes for the temperature to normalize between the cone and the housing, and move on to the small bearing cone. And now is the time to use the special tools. Position the small bearing cone inside. Large shim on this side, like this. Small shim on this side. Make sure you aligned everything properly. 19 socket, and tighten it up. All perfectly aligned. Everything is pressed in until the end. And from this side, you should have the view like this. Switching our focus to pinion. Old bearing out, new bearing in. The same situation. It is designed and pressed so tightly right here that no tool can grab it and push it out, so you have to cut it. Clean this. You can find some pipe with a similar diameter to press in, like we have one. You know, when you use crush sleeve one time, theoretically you can't use it another time, but for that we have a crush sleeve shim. First you put a shim, and then above it the very same crush sleeve you find in your differential. Finish it up with the housing. Before you put oil seal on tops, remember to put the bearing inside. Lubricate the bearing, clean the surface for the oil seal. What is happening right now, guys, it's you're sucking the pinion in the small bearing by screwing in flange. This is the moment when you're actually starting the procedure of precise tightening of the nut to get optimal preload on those bearings. This is the tricky part, so we left it for the end to explain every bit of it, so you can be sure you are doing the good job. Take the head of the pinion, the gear part, and this one, the small pinions for the drive shaft, and move it like this. Can you hear the sound? Yes, you can. So feel the free play that you have. Start torquing the pinion nut. Now it goes really hard. And then check again. It should be a bit smaller. Each time should be a bit smaller. This is the amount of movement between two checks. Don't move half of circle or something like that. Small amounts and then check. Because if you get it too tight, you need to remove the pinion again and put another crush sleeve shim inside and do the procedure again. Now it's time to move on to even bigger lever because it is starting to be very hard. Now I begin to feel that there is no free play here. To check precisely on the torque resistance, you need to have tool like this. It is a torque wrench, classic torque wrench with spring, but this one measures from 0 to 10 Newton meters. Measure the torque resistance. Right now we have 0.4 Newton meters of torque resistance. Ideal measure is between 0.8 and 1 Newton meter. So tighten a little bit again and then check the resistance until you get 0.8 to 1 Newton meter. Now we are left to pack up the center LSD unit, close it with cover, and this differential would be ready to go in no time. Just if you want to ask, this hole should be aligned with this groove, so facing to this point. This hole should be aligned with this groove, so facing like this. Putting back the actuator. Make sure you use the sealing compound right here on this surface. Put it right here. We won't be putting it right now for this video because we will use this differential for another video for you guys to learn something else, but that is in the next video. So again, sealing compound right here. When you remove the motor from the housing, if you accidentally change the position of the gears of this actuator motor, then you should do procedure for adapting it on the diagnostics. So if you manage to leave the gears exactly the same as they were before you put it out, then it's okay. But most likely you won't be able to do that. So you will have to do activation procedure. We have that in our another video, which is about performance upgrade of this center LSD unit. The last part is the cover. Clean the surface well, deglaze it. This one as well. Put the sealing compound on this surface and close it down. Right now we change the bearings and get this differential to be as silent as possible. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned something, so see you in the next one.